One is like a seed. If you sow it in a worthy enterprise, you'll gain a better benefit. I think 5 years after I left Nigeria, I was given a national award for an organization, medical organization, and I almost started crying because I'm like, 4 or 5 years ago, prior to this, I was nobody. I didn't know anyone. I came here with $6 in my pocket, and here it is. People are acknowledging me around the country. So they say, God may not be there when you want him, but he's always on time. Yeah. So never tell your kids that they are down, they are bad, they are crazy, they are wrong. Don't encourage them, build them because they're gonna believe you.
Hello. Welcome to another episode of Lost Lagosians, a podcast covering topics about Lagosians, Nigerians, and Africans in diaspora, as well as trending topics and challenges of Lagosians living outside Africa. I'm your host, Brother Mike. This week's episode is a continuation of our conversation with Dr. Cruze from last week. For those of you who've not listened to that, the title of that episode is called All Power Belongs to God. Today, we continue where we left off. For last week, we talked about his time in Nigeria, growing up in Nigeria during the Abacha, MKO Abiola time, as well as the political unrest in Nigeria at the time. And then he came to the US. And so this week's episode is just a continuation of that conversation. If you're not able to listen to last week's episode, this week's episode is not a prerequisite for last week's episode. You can just listen to this and you'll be able to follow along just fine, because they're two different topics and two different parts, although somewhat connected, but they're two different topics. Last week he talked about his time in Nigeria, and now it's just his immigration experience. So if you want to kind of have a bit of rendezvous back into the 90s, you can listen to last week's episode, and this week's episode starts basically when it comes to the US. So there's just some overlap. Without further ado, let's go ahead and continue the conversation.
I came here. When I came, guess what? I had $6
Wow.
on me. I had $6 cash on me. That's all I had when I came to the United States. I bought a cup of coffee from Dunkin' Donuts. Waited.
You remember?
I still remember. I but Dunkin' Donuts coffee. The first job I had was being a clean. I was helping people with cleaning toilets.
Oh, wow.
And that was very, very hard. It was very, because you have to do it really quickly. The more toilets you clean, the more pay you got. So it was cold. It was winter.
Sorry, I can't get past that.
Yes. The more toilets you clean, the more you got paid. So,
oh my God,
I realized this is not for me. I was like, this is not for me. I got a job. I was going to college. I started a community college. And I wanted to go to a regular university, but I couldn't afford it. So because I didn't know much about Pell Grants and all that stuff. I kind of worked in, I hadn't taken my SATs at that time. So I had to take my SATs when I got here. And then, what else did I do? Okay, no, I worked at a security firm, the rent-a-cop kind of thing. I don't know why people why they gave me that job, because I was so skinny. If anybody wanted to steal anything from the store, they just needed to walk over me. So, but anyway, that was what the thing I had. But the thing that I liked about that job, they sent me different places. I remember going to do some things near the White House. So by meeting people, meeting Americans,
interacting with
Americans, white Americans, Black Americans. And just kind of, so I remember one time I saw some medical students, and I was just talking to them, and I was like, I heard med school is very expensive. And they said, yeah, it is. But don't worry about it. When you finish, you can pay it back. If you work hard, you pay it back. And I was like, okay, well, good. Because I've been thinking I can't go to med school because it costs a lot of money, because it costs a lot of money. I was like, okay. So that gave me an impetus to go. So that meeting was I guess a coincidence or a God coincidence, because it helped me to don't worry about the money, just do it. And that's the thing about if money is like a seed. If you sow it in a worthy enterprise, you'll gain a better benefit. Because when I look at what God has done for me, when I look at what I remember, I came with $6.
Is that because you chose med school, or because some people will go to college and they read art majors?
Yeah.
And they spend about the same you spend in med. So I'm trying to pin two different things
All right.
into this conversation. One of them being you mentioned that seed. The number one is you actually being smart enough to know that even if I go to med school, I'll be able to pay it off. So the first part of that is you met somebody in a very casual conversation.
Yes.
And that guy sowed a seed that it wasn't really a seed, but you made it a seed in a way.
Yeah. You made it
Because
what
you
it
held
is.
on to it.
Yeah.
You made it what is, yeah. And the guy, you don't even know the guy. You don't remember
No,
him
I
today.
don't remember.
Like you don't remember his name.
It was a chance encounter. I was working. Putting on my uniform and just talking. I said, "Oh, where do you go to school?" We just talk about
Cleaning
school.
toilets
Yeah,
or making your
this was the
$6 or whatever.
security. This is the security one
Oh,
because I was like,
security job.
I can't clean toilets for the rest of my life. So this security was a little bit better, and so I just happened to talk to this man. I think it was one or more, like two, but one of them was talking to me, and just kind of told me he's a medical student and goes to, I think, University of Maryland, or I'm not sure which one, but because there are a lot of schools, good schools, Georgetown, George Washington,
Yeah.
Howard University. So and so so he told me that, and that made so that took away from me that hindrance about the financial aspect of it, and
Yeah.
so I decided to go for it. This has been something I wanted to do for a long time. Since I was a younger child, so I wanted to be a doctor. So by the grace of God, what he said helped me. So if I did not become, if I didn't go into medicine, I probably would have done something else. I mean, for instance, I'm kind of like a science kind of person. So I would have gone into something in the sciences, hard sciences, physics, astronomy. I don't know, something I probably would have done well in it too. So I don't know. I'm not like an entrepreneur, so would I have gone to Wall Street and made a killing there, or invented maybe I would have invented something. I don't know. It's time and chance is in God's hands. So I don't know, but those things, and it pays to be because at the time I pointed out to you, I think 5 years after I left Nigeria, I was given a national award for an organization, medical organization, and I almost started crying because I'm like, 4 or 5 years ago, prior to this, I was nobody. I didn't know anyone. I came here with $6 in my pocket, and here it is. People are acknowledging me around the country, at least in that organization, so the national organization I was in. I was very close to tears, and I was like, "Wow, God is good," and I moved on. So those are the things that helped.
Yeah, so the guys saw a seed in you, and you were the one who kind of held on to that. Then the other part is also doing something whereby what you're doing. I guess what I'm trying to find out is if it's a risk for you. If you thought it was a risk, like to go that route, like, okay, I'm going to go to Mexico, I'm going to, it's expensive, whatever. Was that kind of a risk?
You see,
or was it kind of a surefire or guarantee?
Well, that's the thing about being young. Then you are naive, so you didn't know all these things and all the complications. You didn't know, so you just did it, and you just went ahead and took a chance. Those that would never take a chance never get ahead. So you just didn't know. When I say so, when I make a quotation like that, that's not for me. I learned it from what's the name of this guy? What those that never take a chance never get ahead. He wrote this book. Tough times never last, but tough people do. Yeah, Robert
Schuller,
yeah. Yeah, I read his book, Tough Times Never Last, but Tough
The
People
Hour of
Do.
Power. He does the Hour of Power.
Exactly, Hour of Power, yeah. So I used to remember watching him, reading his book, Tough Times Never Last, Tough People Do. And those things you read and encouragement and just telling you. So the naivety of not knowing. But that's kind of like, when David took on Goliath, did he know anything? He was probably 16 years old. Did he know anything? He didn't know anything, but he just trusted God, like, hey, I dare you. And Goliath like, who are you talking to? And then he killed him. So that's the thing. I didn't know all the challenges. I just did what. So I found, at the time. Sorry, I didn't even mention this. At the time I was working at KFC. I used to be
KFC, the chicken place.
The chicken place, and I sucked at it. I was bad.
Well, how many jobs? Hold on. How many jobs have you even done? Like all these jobs you had. I didn't even know you were that rugged because I just thought you were like so academic. Remembering from the.
No, I have been with the masses. I know what the masses go through. Yeah, so
Well, you were
yeah,
saying you used to work at
I used
KFC,
to work at
yeah.
KFC and I was bad at it.
Wow.
So because
What do you mean you are bad? Are you not
okay,
just serving chicken? I mean, how hard can that be?
well, okay, if it's just serving chicken, that's fine. So they come and say, okay, if you put me in the back, fry the chicken, I put it on. This one they ask me, they put me on the counter and says, okay, when somebody orders for something, this is how you do it. And I just
Oh,
couldn't
you're
get
taking
it. Okay,
orders.
taking the orders, there was something about it I just didn't know. And remember when I started working at KFC, I just come from the US, from Nigeria. So when people
Mm.
say, oh, I want a white or dark meat, I was like, what's that? You know,
Mm.
so there was a learning curve. So I just,
Yeah.
I just, so at the point, like, I can't do this anymore. I'll just go and do. When I got security job, I did that for quite a while until I was
Mm.
in a little bit more financially stable place.
Mm.
And just
Mm.
kind of when I got into school, and then I got scholarships. By the time I finished college, I was debt free. I didn't owe anybody any money. So the scholarships.
Mm.
Of course, I had to work
Mm.
to earn those scholarships.
Of
But
course,
it was a
now
work based
academically.
scholarship. What was the
Mm.
scholarship?
Oh,
So
you have to work like teach or something or
yeah,
grade.
I worked in the research lab. Worked in the research lab to do it to earn the scholarship or for the. So I work. One of the conditions of the scholarship was you work in a lab and you do research, scientific research work. And I remember this one going to harvest guest rats in the lab and lab rats and stuff like that, and use them to do
Mm-hmm.
experiments and stuff like that. But even prior
Mm-hmm.
to that, the one about uh, there was one time. Let me tell you this story. About there was one time I couldn't. There was one semester I had no money. I couldn't pay for school, and I went to one of my friends and I said, I can't believe God has let me down. I can't pay. What's going on? And he's just like, don't worry, everything will be fine. Pray with me. I thought even this brother would give me money. Like I guess he didn't have money, so he didn't give me money. So I was going to class.
Mm-hmm.
Remember, my funds were due. I had to pay it like on a particular Friday.
Mm-hmm.
I had a test. I had a physics exam that day, and so I couldn't even study because I was so worried because I couldn't pay. I
About
couldn't pay.
pain.
And
Mm-hmm.
then as I was
Mm.
about to board my bus, I missed my bus. So the bus, I didn't like 5 seconds. The bus was just passing. I ran. By the time I got to the
Oh.
bus stop, the bus had left. So I was going to be late for class because I was paying in installments. So
Mm.
it wasn't like I had to pay the whole thing. And then a few days or a few weeks later, I got a letter from the school telling me that
Mm.
I have a scholarship or something. I met some criteria for a scholarship, and that's how they
Wow.
covered tuition for me. And I ended
Wow.
up getting an A
Wow.
on that physics test, by the way. So they say, God may not be there when you want him, but he's always on time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I was
Mm-hmm.
like, wow. So I was like, because I'd given up hope. I was like, they're going to kick me from school. I can't pay. And
Yeah, there are a lot of things in the back end that
mm-hmm.
you don't know.
You
That
don't
only
know.
God knows. Like who made the call, who made what, who didn't take the scholarship or who transferred to another school that opened that spot. So many things that go in the back.
Oh, yeah.
You're saying the way God works and some things that God does, like we don't even know about
You don't
it.
even know. Yeah.
So one thing that I think this conversation we're having, the theme is kind of like today, thank God, you made it, your MD, but you had a lot of work that you put in
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of struggle and sweat. In a weird way, it's kind of like anybody can be where you're at, or anybody can end up where you're at,
Mm-hmm.
but they don't know that they can, or they think they
Right.
can't for one
You
reason
think
or
they can.
another.
Yes, yeah, that's true. A lot of times people are destroyed because of lack of knowledge. You don't know, and so
Mm,
So the first, my parents, they helped me, they encouraged me. There was one time I was really really sad, especially when things happened when I was leaving Nigeria. My dad was like, he's told me something, and maybe he told all my siblings this. He said, of all my children, you're the one that seems to have the most promise. And I hope he
hmm,
told everybody that, but he told me that, and that
hmm.
lifted up my spirit. I was like, wow. Because you see, okay, what happened
Which
was this.
to him, he didn't think he was saying anything. If he
Mhm.
told everybody, he's probably just telling everybody anyway. So as parents, this is like a good learning. Yeah,
Yeah,
go
yeah,
ahead.
yes, yeah. So never tell your kids that they are down, they are bad, they are crazy, they are not. Don't encourage
Mm,
them, build them because they're gonna believe you. They're gonna believe you because a parent is an authority over the child. And so,
mm,
what are you gonna tell them? If you tell them that they're good, they're meant for something good, they're great, that there's a great future ahead of them, they'll believe you and they'll take it. But if you tell them something, or somebody like, I'm going to prove you wrong, those that are really stubborn and strong-headed, or some that go, I believe you. But anyway, my dad told me that, and what happened was this. Let me tell you that context because it's really on. So I was supposed to come to the United States a particular time, and I got my ticket. Actually got in the plane. I got in the plane, passed through customs, everything, and got in the plane, and I sat down on my seat, and something happened to me.
Hold on, how do you sit on your feet?
I was
don't
on my
get it.
seat in the plane. I was in my plane. I had my seat, B12.
Oh, seat. Okay.
In the
I
plane.
thought you started on your feet. Oh, yeah. Oh, you took your seat number,
Yeah,
seat
no, I was
20D,
in the
whatever.
plane, flying, leaving
Yeah,
from
got it.
Lagos International.
I understand. Yeah.
And I sat down in
Muritala.
the plane. Yeah, Muritala International. I sat down in the plane, and I just felt different. I didn't know. I thought I had a headache or I was passing out. And then the air flight attendant came to me and she said, "Are you okay?" I said, "I think I have a headache." She said, "Okay." And before I know it, she put me on a wheelchair and got me out of the plane. By the time I came out of the plane and the breeze just hit my face, my headache just disappeared, my consciousness appeared. It was like I was watching
it. That's that Nigerian spirit, that Lagos spirit is trying to draw you back.
So, well,
he doesn't want you to leave.
He didn't want me to leave. Yeah, go ahead. So I just revived, and then they took me to the terminal, and then the plane left. I was like, what happened? And then the people there I got to send these people to me. I said, okay, people are working there. Say, where do you live? Say, where's your family? I said, they've left. I mean, they think I'm on the plane. So I told them where I live, and then they drove me back home.
Do you mind sharing how your age? Do you mind, like, were you like 17, 19? Just for people to understand how young
17,
you were.
18. 17, 18.
Wow.
7 going. I was probably 18. I was 18, yeah. Because I remember, yeah, I was 18. So at that time.
So as an 18-year-old boy, you are leaving the country, leaving your family behind. Of course, you are an American, you had American citizenship or whatever, but still you are still 18.
Yeah,
like a boy, didn't know anything, and they are flying you over to this country. Wow.
Yeah. So I got there. So I got home in the middle of like midnight. They dropped me off there. God bless these people. I don't know who they are till today, but they just saw a poor boy stranded in the airport and they just took me home. And took me home, and my parents were surprised, and I told them what happened. And after that, my spirits were down. I was discouraged. I was just kind of slacking, and just my father's just like, look, my son, you are of all the children I have, you are the one that has the purpose. It looks like
most promise. So sorry, I keep interrupting. So after that incident, another family at Muritala just saw you and just took you home.
Actually, somebody that worked in the airport. Somebody that worked in the
airport just saw you and they just took you to their house. So how did you reconnect to your parents the next day? There was no cell phone, nothing.
No, yeah, they just took me back to my house. Took me back to my house.
Oh, so you know your house and you gave them directions.
I gave them directions. So yeah.
Oh, that's when your dad now said that.
And that's when he told me that. And so anyway, we made arrangements for me to leave again. And
say the devil is a liar.
Yeah, the devil is a liar, of course. There's no way. There's even another story behind that one because another story around that stuff. I don't know if we have time to talk about it, but
yeah, we do. You can, yeah.
Okay, yeah. All right. So I'll tell you this. Okay, so when I was about to leave, I went to my youth leader. And I told him that I was leaving. And
at the church.
At the church, and he said, "Well, he doesn't know what to tell me because nobody has ever left. So he told me to go and meet the national youth leader. National youth leader. So I went to his office, and then he himself said that." I don't know what to tell you. You probably need to see.
I think you told me that story before. You told me the story before.
I told you, okay, all right, okay, let me say for the audience sake. So I say you need to meet the GS, the General Superintendent, or General Overseer, which one? Okay. So he said I have to meet him. So is that he'll give me a letter. So I went to see him. I made an appointment to see him with a lot of people. And then he said, well, I don't know what to tell you, but maybe I'll give you a letter because he wasn't sure which church was in the area I was going to be in. So I just need a letter of introduction. And so, so the letter of introduction. So he came, he said that I should come at this particular time, get the letter. So when I came, the letter was not ready. That's when I left at that time. That's when this thing about the Lufthansa, I was in the airport, got stranded in the airport, so I left. So I didn't leave, but I didn't have the letter on me. That letter needed to be with me. I didn't know that. So God delayed. When Satan tries to do something to you, you think that Satan, God is more stronger than Satan. So I claim got delays. I left. I didn't leave the country because I needed that letter. So I didn't know. So I went back after this incident when I got dropped off from the plane and went back and encouragement from my dad. I went back to ask for the letter, and the letter they gave me the letter said, "Oh, the letter has been waiting for you." So when I came to the United States and I was staying with my sister, I said, my sister, I gave it to my sister. She raised, oh, I know this place now. They know the church. And so she called that church, called the church, spoke to the pastor. And soon afterwards, there was a problem with my sister and a relative. We got into a fight, called police. And so I had to leave. And not that because I did anything wrong, but I just had to leave.
Of course, it wasn't your fault.
Because my presence was causing trouble. Okay, my presence was causing trouble. Say, you don't have enough space. You didn't tell us, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, so I had to leave. So it was that number on that letter that we called. That person came to pick me up. That pastor came to pick me up. And I stayed with him for about a year.
Wow.
And that's how I got.
Now I connect the dots.
Okay.
Now I connect the dots.
So if that letter was not with me, I really don't know. And that staying with that pastor really helped me because he helped me in a lot of ways, and just connecting with people. It was just yeah. So,
no, very good. I think the takeaway here is everything that happens for a reason.
For a reason, yes.
Everything that happens for a reason. I have a similar experience, and I'll narrate that as we wrap up. When I came as well to the States, I didn't get a letter, but a relative knows somebody who's in New York. So I came through New York, right? So a relative knows somebody in New York. But lucky enough for me, when I came, the friend of this, my relative, who was supposed to host me, my relative was not in the country. They just knew somehow. So they were just like, when you get to Nigeria, when you get to America, when you get to New York, call this number. This relative gave me the number. So I got to New York. I called the number. The children of this particular family, picked up the phone and answered. So I now told them, hello, I need to talk to Mr. and Mrs. So. They're not like, who are you? Who sent you to us? And also this, my relative, Lagbaja sent me to you that I need to, come and stay. So they're like, oh my God, we know that Lagbaja, that person is a really cool person. That person is awesome. Oh, no, here's our address. We'd love to have you. Don't sweat it. It's going to be awesome. So where I'm going with is with that I entered the yellow cab, it was like $20 for a cab. They leave like half a mile. I didn't even know what it was. I think I had like $100 or something in my pocket, So I was okay. Yeah, $20, no big deal. When I get there, I'll get reimbursed, whatever. I'll make my money back. I'll get my money back. So I got there, stayed there for like a day. Husband's working, wife's working, everybody's working, whatever. So the lady was doing a night shift. She was a CNA doing a night shift. So she came. So the next morning I slept, right? Jet lag, whatever. When I woke up and there was like the whole family had a meeting. I was just sleeping on the floor. It's very sweet, like a 1-bedroom apartment or something. I was sleeping in the living room, not on the couch. The kids were on the couch. I was on the floor. I remember that very well because I used to sleep on the floor in Nigeria, in Lagos. So I was on the floor. So they woke up and there was like this family meeting on my head. So I heard later on the children talking among themselves, like blaming themselves, like, why did you let him in? Now you made mommy angry. You shouldn't have let him in. Primarily, the mom was scolding them that next time, don't let anybody from Nigeria just call you. I mean, I understand that now, 20 years later, But the way God did it, like God had it such that woman or the family went home. The parents went home. Because if they were home, they may not have accepted me. I don't even know. Like, they would have said, oh, sorry. Apparently my relative and this person, they are not in good terms. They don't like each other, or they fought, or they had a big fight. So I was there for like 3 more days or 4 more days, and I got kicked out. So it's kind of a very important story. Like, it's all connecting. The sense being that there's the immigrant experience. Want to be kind to people coming. You don't know who that person is or what they're going to be tomorrow.
That's
like
true.
Yourself, thank God you're doing very well. You're an MD, whatever. Here I am recording this podcast 20 years later. But we both had similar experiences where we were technically kicked out,
Right.
So yeah, on the one hand, you need to be nice to the younger generations because you don't know where people will be tomorrow.
Exactly.
Just be friendly, open your doors, open your arm, And on the other hand, it's like God knows what He's planning for you as somebody who's coming into wherever country you're coming to. God knows His plan for you, and God knows what He has. So sometimes things happen. Just be grateful and go with the flow. Yeah.
Yes, yes, yes. Oh, yeah, yeah. Because you never know who you're gonna help tomorrow. Who's gonna help you or help your children or help them? Yeah, you just don't know. Um, yeah, yeah.
On the one hand, people are trying to help as best as they can, but on the other hand, people may try to, but then they're not related to you. They don't know who you are. And there's also experience of Nigerians that have gone bad, whereby you accept other Nigerians and they steal your money. So it's like, I guess my question to you is, how do you find the right balance?
Connection. It's important to have connection helps. If you know someone that knows somebody, that
I know, but
helps.
if you don't know somebody,
if you don't know somebody,
if you don't know
well,
anybody,
you know what? I think so. You just do the right thing to help people wherever they can. If someone comes to you, I mean, what will happen if someone calls me and said out of the blue that I know your brother, your uncle or something like that, and wants to stay with me? Well, part of it, is that first of all, Mrs. has to say yes or no, because it takes two to tango. But
of course, yeah.
that's one thing. Because I've been in a situation when somebody asked me for help with stuff like that, and I just could not help them. I just didn't have the means at all. I was barely keeping this together. It's like, I'm sorry, I can't. You have to see. I couldn't. Even till today, I regret it because I'm like, what if I had, because I didn't have the money, I didn't have the space. I just felt
Of
like,
course, you are
sorry,
a
I'm not the
burden,
person.
still a student, you are struggling,
So I had to tell, like, I'm in this situation. I can't take care of you. I'm not the person you should ask. Why don't you ask somebody else? And even till today, I still think that maybe what would have happened if I said yes, and I
Are
helped.
you saying that you are regretting it because you
Yeah,
were in that position before? Or are you saying you are regretting it because you
I'm
are looking
regretting
back
because
and
I don't
like,
know what would have been, what that person would have become, because I
if
don't
you'd
know what happened
squeezed yourself? Yeah.
if I'd squeezed myself. So I still
Mm.
look at, because I don't think I was being selfish or anything. I just didn't, it's like, remember there's the parable of the five virgins and the five, the
Yeah,
10
yeah,
virgins.
yeah.
Some had oil and some didn't, and so the one that had oil said, "There's not enough for both of us." So,
Mm-hmm.
so you go. So that's kind of what I felt. I was like, I just didn't have the means. I'm just barely. I can't help you. But now, I mean, it's different now. I mean, I'm in a position to help. I'm in a
Mm.
position to help. So yeah, why not?
Pay it
So
forward.
yeah, pay forward. So I'm sure
Mm.
that person got help from somebody else. I'm pretty sure about
Mm-hmm.
that. But
Mm-hmm.
the things that, yeah, right now. So help those that you can. I mean, the other things that
Mm-hmm.
use common sense. If someone comes to you and they are shifty and they're not truthful, the story doesn't match and things
It
don't
doesn't add up.
then don't use your common sense and don't let yourself be swindled, because unfortunately we have people, well, it's in every people group, there are people that are swindlers and stuff. But if
Mm-hmm.
someone seems to be forthright and just why not just help.
Mm-hmm.
I help as much because I
Wow,
was
no,
helped by other people. I was helped by,
as well.
I remember I talked about the pastor that took me for my sister's place when that
Mm-hmm.
incident happened, and the other people, roommates, friends, that we just had to. So yeah, do what you can help. Those people helped me. I mean, including you too, and I helped
Oh,
you
yeah.
too in certain things. You know,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
and
Mm-hmm.
so
Mm-hmm.
things
Mm-hmm.
that we
We
were.
hope each other. Yeah, we hope each other. I remember once you wrote me a check. I was still in college then.
I
I'm
did.
like, this guy doesn't have money. He's in school and he's giving me money. Yeah. Yeah, you did. Yeah. I don't know if you remember or not, but you did.
I cannot remember. I don't remember.
Of course, you won't
I
remember.
did.
That's the beauty of it. Like when you do all these things, you won't really remember how many people you've helped down the road.
Oh,
You
okay.
know?
One statement I wanted to say: not all, no, it said not all who wander are lost. Not all who wander are lost. Not everybody that is wandering around is lost.
Oh, okay. Not everybody is wandering around is lost.
Is lost.
But we're relating to the podcast.
Well, the
What are you
thing is
trying to
that
get at?
when I didn't know where I was going, but I was not lost. In
But
my
you were
life, I didn't know.
wondering.
I was wandering. Anyway, I'm still
Mm,
wandering, but I'm not lost.
mm,
I know where I'm
mm,
going to end up eventually,
mm,
but I'm not lost
mm,
because I
So when you came here, you were wondering,
yes.
but you weren't necessarily lost.
So
Got it.
honestly, if someone had told me, I would never have believed you. There's something that like
Mm,
I just like never in me, no. But
mm.
then you are. Yeah. So
But yeah, here we are. Only God knows.
You have to also deal with some kind of, attitudes of people having. May not even be necessarily racial, but it's kind of like they're not familiar with you, so they don't know what you can do. When you open your mouth, you start talking, they realize, oh, this guy really actually talks like us. He knows like us. He prays like us. I'm like, oh, okay, interesting. Realize that we have more in common than we have in differences. At the bottom of the day, at the end of the day, both of us we still bleed blood. So our blood is still red.
So on a lighter note, what's your favorite thing about Lagos that you missed the
Oh,
most?
Lagos. What I miss about Lagos the most? Just well, I guess the people. I love the people there. Also,
Good.
the how do you call it? It made you tough. Being in Lagos made you tough. So you knew how to navigate things you didn't face because you have to run, catch bus, get on the motorway, all those things.
Oh,
It
wow.
made you tough. I kind of liked it. After a while, you kind of liked it. So it's like when it fishes in water, it doesn't know that there is air. There's land because that's all it is. So I I remember going to Lagos a few years ago, and I just like the way people are kind of free. Here in the United States, we're kind of bound by time. You have an appointment, you have this, you have this, so all these things you have to do. It was just freedom. You got there. I remember I got there, sat down, met my brother-in-law, and he just took me to somebody's house. He didn't call ahead, just went to somebody's house. And before you know it, they just threw a party, spontaneous party. Before you know,
On
they're
the
making
spot.
suya, drinking drinks. I'm like, we didn't plan. No, he just went to his house. Before party, everybody just come from out of the woodwork. I'm like, this is how we used to do things back home. Well, we can't do that. Just imagine someone comes here and before you know, everybody's coming to your place and a party. Stuff you have to plan. You have to go to Walmart. You have to go to this place, buy this, buy. No, that one just happens for them. I'm like, wow, these people they're free. They're free. Yeah, they are not very as wealthy, but they are free and they'll do what they can for you. If you are eating, come on, someone is eating the food, say, come and join me, and they really, they mean it. I hope they mean it. They come and eat.
You're like, no, I need my space. I don't want to eat with you right now. I'm good. I just ate.
Yeah. In light of COVID, I guess that's people don't
exactly.
do that as much. But that's one of the things I would love to sometimes talk about next time. But just that freedom of being yourself and being open and just helping people and just you can talk to people. You don't have to look through things through a lens or a filter of race or you're just yourself. When you're with someone, you have to kind of be aware of okay, I'm talking to this person. He's of a different culture. And you have to kind of because this is a very United States, a very multicultural, multiracial society, and you have to navigate. You have to kind of navigate all that stuff mentally. Especially in my line of work, you just have to navigate. You have to know how to talk to people, different places. But in Nigeria, it's not like that because we all kind of know each other. If you are Igbo, you are Yoruba, but just people from all over. Wherever you are, come to Lagos, make a life of yourself. It's just easy.
Thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. Thank you for listening, guys. We've just been chatting with Dr. Cruze. It's just been awesome having him on. Of course, they can talk to me forever, but in the interest of time, we'll have to wrap it down at this point. Please feel free to subscribe to our podcast on Apple Podcast and also on Google Podcasts, Stitcher, and also Spotify. We're also on YouTube, so feel free to subscribe, leave a comment, and also hit the bell notification so you can get notified when next we release a new episode. With that, I want to say thank you, Dr. Cruze, for coming on. It's really a pleasure having you.
Mike.
And again, Happy New Year to you, and we'll hopefully have you again on the show. Thank you, sir.
Okay, you're welcome.
All right, thanks. Bye.